The Idaho GOP governor's primary debate is without question the best thing that I've seen all day for sure, maybe all week. It might even be pushing all month. So here we have biker Harley Brown, who's going to give his closing remarks. Remember, as you watch this, keep in mind, this guy is running for fucking governor, okay? So I left in a piece of the guy before giving his closing statement so you can see the contrast between like your typical polished douchebag candidate and Harley, who is not polished to say the least.
It is time to shake up the establishment. My name is Russ Fulcher. I'm running for governor, and I ask your vote on May 20th.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Brown, your closing remarks.
Well, this has been a great honor. Thank you, League of Women Voters, and thank you, Public TV, and thank you, folks, for tuning in to see us in action. Let me finish that story, okay? After God told me he was going to make me president, I went out and got the presidential seal tattooed right here on my shoulder. My morale went from -500 off the scale, and I started a presidential campaign right there. I'm a type AA plus guy. And I was living in Fat Jack's cellar because my ex-wife had given me trumped up some restraining orders. I couldn't see my kids. It was a mess. And Fat Jack's old lady, Fat Jack's wife, said, "Get this lunatic out of my cellar. He's starting a presidential campaign. I'm getting calls from the media and all this." For 3 years, I had the credibility of Chicken Little. You know, the sky is falling. And finally, one day, this bishop from Africa comes over. He says, "I am a prophet of the Most High God, and in that office I hear authenticate that God told you that." I said, "Yeah, do you mind putting that in writing?" He said, "Sure." And he put it in writing, and I got the original at home, and I was able to go up to all my detractors and say, "Na, na, 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 na." Okay, now, I need practice. Practice. I don't want to say stuff like, "Sorry if our bombing caused you any inconvenience." So I want to work in the Little League as a governor. And you have your choice, folks. A cowboy, a curmudgeon, a biker, or a normal guy. Take your pick. Thank you very much. We're leaving it up to you.
That was incredible. I don't know where to begin with this guy. So for everybody listening on the radio, you didn't see at the beginning there that when they tell him to do his closing statement, he immediately puts on his biker hat. And you could tell that he thought about doing that for the past 3 weeks. He's like, "Oh, what am I going to do for my closing statement? Oh, I got it. When they call on me, I'll put my hat on because I'll look super, super cool. This is great." Oh, man. I don't know whether to feel bad for him because he's clearly a little loopy, or I don't know whether to like him or hate him, as we'll get to in a second. I mean, this is the part that's less controversial, let's say. But some of the great parts. Well, God told me I'd be president. Obviously. But does he actually believe that? That's my question. Like, I know that's something that a lot of guys just say. Like, if you ask Republicans when they're running in the primary for president, they're all like, "Well, yeah, God told me I'd be president," whether it's Rick Santorum or Pat Robertson did it in the 1980s. But, like, does this guy might actually believe it, that God's talking to him in his ear, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I got it. I'll run for president." By the way, you missed the mark. You do realize you're running for governor of Idaho. Does he know that? Is he like, "Oh, fuck, I thought I signed up to run for president"? And the reference to Fat Jack Seller is the best ever. He says it like everybody knows who Fat Jack is. Like the audience is like, "Oh, right, Fat Jack. Yeah, good guy. We don't know who the fuck you're talking about, dude. I'm over there in Fat Jack's cellar, and then his old lady, I like how he clarifies. His old lady, that means his wife, guys. Anyway, so I have the credibility of Chicken Little, and the sky is falling." What the fuck are you talking about? I got Chicken Little, the sky falling, an African bishop. I'm lost, dude. I'm lost. And actually, this is like the third time I saw this because I had to edit it for the show and everything. But when he brings up the African bishop, I finally figured out what he's saying. You know what he's saying? He's saying, no, there was an African bishop that came over the house, and he gave me documentation that tells me that God wants me to be president. Oh, I guess I have to believe you now. You have a sheet of paper that says some stuff on it. But he thinks it's like a... Nailed it. Everybody, shut up. No dissent. Clearly, the African bishop told me God wants me to be president. So, hey, if you don't vote for me, your fault, man. I have the document. Hello, it says it right here.
You've posted bigoted jokes on your website, skewering women and gays and Jews and Asians and Polish people like
and
me.
Bikers and Irishmen, too.
And, yeah, Irishmen, too. How is that sort of disrespect for people going to allow you to govern?
A substantial portion of my political campaign is campaigning against political correctness. It's a lot of the working class. Oh, by the way, when you did your introduction, I wanted the fact that I was the president of the Bombers Motorcycle Club and that I was a long-haul truck driver, okay? I wanted to get the low-range stuff, not just the high stuff, engineer and all that, but like a Fuller 9-speed transmission. They got the granny low and go all the way up to overdrive. And I have experience through the entire spectrum of our society. And I like blue-collar values. And those Harleyisms that I called had a lot of warning on there. You know, you might find this offensive, but I hit everybody. Jews, Polish people, Irish, Italians, religious jokes and black jokes. And by the way, my wife screened that, and we took the real hardcore zingers out. So in case I get any flack from people like you, note that, you're mild, I can fire that back and attack my attackers. I don't like political correctness. Can I say this? It sucks. It's bondage. And I'm about as politically correct as your proverbial turd in a punch bowl, and I'm proud of it, and I'm going for it, and I'm going for the vote of the real people out there, not these bondage type people who don't have a clue about picking up strangers at night and hauling them God knows where. Try that for a while.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Next question is for Mr. Bays.
I love how she's so offended at the end, and she's like, all right, next question is for this person. Shut up. Shh. Oh, this guy is so stupid. Oh, he's so stupid. I mean, again, I don't even know where to begin. When he's like, on your website, you go after black people, Jewish people, women, Polish people. He's like, Irish people too. Oh, well, thank you. And here's a question. What does being politically correct or not have anything to do with your job as a governor? Like, I love it when people, they wear that as a badge of honor. I'm not politically correct. Okay, but what policies would you implement? So we get it. You're racist, you're anti-Semitic, you're sexist, all that stuff, right? But is that going to affect the policies you try to implement? But see, obviously the elevator doesn't go to the top floor. So he's just this silly guy who's like, well, I'm against political correctness. That's what I'm running on. Don't you understand that? I'm against political correctness. Okay, but how does that translate into your fucking policies? We should be talking about policies right now. He's like, no, I'm against political correctness. Again, I don't know what that means. What that tells me is that you seem like you're so crazy and so racist and so stupid that you would have no problem implementing laws that keep down people you disagree with. Like Irish people, Italian people, Jewish people, Polish people, women, black people, etc., etc. And then the biggest irony of all is, well, my wife screened the stuff that I said, and she took out the really bad zingers. So, aren't you politically correct then? Wouldn't that make you politically correct? I censored it. I took out the worst zingers. You know, I had to make sure that my wife made sure, hey, you can't go this far. So that would mean you're politically correct. So you are the thing that you're saying you don't want to be. God, he's so silly. And I don't even know what that part at the end meant. Like, that could be some really bad shit. If I was the police, I might have to look into this dude. He's like, try picking up people late at night and then driving around with them to God knows where, and you know what happened after that. Dude, what are you saying? What are you saying? Somebody check that dude's trunk, okay? Somebody check his basement. There's a 13% chance that there's a toddler tied up down there. I mean, I don't want to be a dick, but that's out there. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what that meant.